Any better?
It is a little better. It's a little better.
I think maybe it's a lot of the glare coming in from the
Yeah, I'll close the
window.
blinds.
Hi, Antoinette. This is Matt Bertello from Oak Ridge Financial.
Yes.
Hi. So Liz Ruckdashell asked me to call you. She's got people that want to make, I guess they're making an offer on your
Yes.
on our key.
Wow, Ben Cooper is here.
Yep, Ben Cooper is joining us today.
He's on a lot of my transactions.
You're muted, Ben. You
muted,
gotta
Ben.
unmute yourself.
Okay, I was gonna
There you
say,
go.
hope I'm not screwing them up, Ira.
No, au contraire. There was another lovely email today to one of my clients. I give everyone 3 choices.
What are the 3 choices?
I give out Ben Cooper, Frank Uzi, and oh my God, and what's her name? Oh, that's bad. It's on my standard sheet that I give out. Jill Cadre. And so far, everyone's been great.
Have an offer $90,000 over the asking.
90?
90.
Wow.
90. Yeah, 6 offers in one day. 80 to 90 over the asking.
Will it appraise?
Cash, all cash buyers, and the other
Oh.
ones are 50%. And this mortgage man just called me and said, we're waiving all the mortgage contingencies. We're waiving the appraisals. I said, I'm sorry. They want the all cash offer. The others were all 50% down. It was the hardest decision in my 30-year career that I ever had to present to my sellers. I didn't make the decision, they did. Very hard. Ridiculous. But I strategically priced it for that reason. That's what I did. And you'll hear me talk about it today, the new market that I'm in.
That we're all in.
Yep. Price it right, and it will
All in it,
sell.
Jennifer, but this is the market that I'm in. I've changed my whole way of doing practice.
Mm.
Yeah, I've changed my whole way. So.
Muted. Is he frozen? Oh, there you go.
No.
He was just concentrating. No, now you're muted.
I don't think. You can ask.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Good.
All right, I'm like half frozen. It keeps freezing up. All right, so let's get started. Who do we have on today from our mortgage partner?
We have Jason.
That would be me.
Jason, what's going on in the mortgage world?
So yeah, we saw another record low yesterday with respect to the 30-year fixed rate with 20% down. Average rate dropped from 3.42 to 3.37. Right now we're seeing rates in the high 2s, low 3s, depending mainly on credit score, loan to value, property type, occupancy, so on and so forth. Purchase applications are up for the 7th consecutive week. 5% over last week, 40% over the last 6 weeks, and 8% from the same week 1 year ago. So yeah, we're definitely, seeing a lot of multiple offers, everything going over ask. I read an article or a report from CoreLogic from April, which indicated that home prices have continued to appreciate to their highest growth, I think, since August of 2018. So, particularly among millennials, starting to see, more millennials enter the market and buy homes now that everyone's returning to work. So yeah, I think things look very positive for the summer. Our applications, just speaking for Bond Street, our applications from a purchase perspective are way up. And we're way up in May, and even early this month for the first 3 days, they've just been crazy. So yeah, we're looking forward to doing a lot of business this summer.
What are your rates on the jumbos?
Jumbos could vary depending on, who we use, but looking anywhere from like low to mid threes.
Have they risen a little bit in the past couple weeks, the jumbos? 'Cause I had heard they were down about 2.6.
Yeah, I mean, every lender is different. I mean, some are better for jumbos. We actually, in cases like where we really have to compete on a deal, we have other outlets that we can utilize
What
to,
about
to
jumbo
get
arm?
someone a really low rate.
Jumbo arm?
Jumbo arm, yeah. hmm
Okay, good,
Yeah.
that's good. Thank
We-
you.
Yeah, we can definitely, we'll exhaust all options and get the
Good,
lowest rate.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Antoinette.
All right, great. Thank you, Jason. Anybody have any questions for Jason? None at all?
No, I just actually, I guess the banks aren't changing their restrictions too much now that we're hopefully getting near acceptance of COVID. The restrictions are not as lean as they used to be before. Am I right in saying that, as hard as they were? Have they settled a little bit and become more, continuity?
There's still the overlays are still there. What's starting to open up a little bit are the non-QM options, like bank statement loans. All of those options are pretty much coming back online. There's going to be some more restrictions in regard to those. We don't actually know yet because it's still developing. But as far as the overlays that were there before, they're still present. What I would say is self-employed borrowers, very tricky. What they're doing is those restrictions are just evolving. So instead of, needing 30 days bank statements, now we need 60 days bank statements because we want to see like what's happening with the income. So anyone who has self-employed borrowers who are pre-approved, definitely want to have them check in on their pre-approval, make sure their documents are updated, and make sure that, whatever they were told before still stands.
I know, I have a question. Someone just asked me yesterday. They're very qualified. They've got a good amount of money in the bank. They want to put a down payment, purchase a home. One of the partners that is collecting unemployment. Now, does that affect their qualifications for the mortgage? Their loan to debt ratio?
Yes.
Will that
If they're unemployed, if they're unemployed, we wouldn't be able to use the unemployment income.
Okay.
So that would absolutely have an impact.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you for the question. Anyone else? Any questions?
Doesn't sound like it. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that,
Thank you, guys.
that info.
Thank
Very
you.
helpful.
Appreciate it. Good seeing y'all.
Good seeing you.
All right. Do we have an attorney partner on today?
Yeah, that's me. Ben Cooper. Good to see so many faces.
Hey, Ben, how are you?
Hi, Ben.
Thanks for
Hi,
having
Ben.
me. Hi. Thanks for having me out. Yeah, so open to questions. Do you want me to talk about anything specific, Al, or give any sort of overview?
Yeah, I guess if there's anything that you're noticing that's going on in the market related to COVID or anything else that's going on in the world, or anything that maybe has changed,
Sure.
significantly in terms of requirements, how closings are occurring differently, or anything like that you think would be helpful, and then we can maybe open it up to some questions.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's definitely a weird world with closings. I think I might have to open up like a drive-through window at my office, just because that's what it seems like. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of the physical closings, we're doing them at our office, but they're in the parking lot. So, no real face-to-face contact unless the client wants otherwise. But so far, we've done them all in my parking lot, handing papers through the window. They hand it back to us, and we give them keys, and they're off and running. The one thing I would like to mention about the process in general, and certainly Jason can chime in on this too, but what's interesting is, for however long I've been doing this, we've always had a mortgage contingency, and sellers can feel pretty secure once they get a mortgage contingency satisfied that the deal is going to go through and their buyer's going to buy the house. Obviously there's always been exceptions to that, but for the most part, you're feeling pretty good about the deal once you get that mortgage contingency satisfied. But now we're putting provisions in the contract that allow for the buyer to get out between contingency and closing if they lose their job, if they get furloughed, if their income gets reduced. So it's a really weird world out there because literally the sellers can't have that good feeling that the deal's done until they're at the closing table. So that's kind of a new world order of how these mortgages are working. And eventually I think we'll come out of that and it'll be like it used to be. But if there's ever a second wave or another virus or another wave or whatever, it's going to come right back where people are getting out of mortgages last minute, sometimes a day or two before closing.
Yeah, and if someone, I'm in a multiple offer situation now. 3 of the offers have said that they would waive their mortgage contingency, and the mortgage companies have backed that up with documentation to me. I'm still concerned. Even if they waive the appraisal and the mortgage contingency, what happens at the final hour?
Yeah.
Isn't that risky versus a cash deal? I have 6 offers on one house and one is a cash deal.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell my people what to do, but even though they're waiving the mortgage contingency, I still feel a risk with COVID.
Yeah, totally. And good to see you, Antoinette. But
Good to see.
so at the end of the day, I mean, if someone's going to waive a mortgage, I got to see proof of funds.
Okay.
Because I mean, just waiving a mortgage is all well and good, but with the way things are going, what happens if that buyer gets their income curtailed? What happens if they lose their job? What happens if they get sick? What happens if they get the virus and they're out of work for 2 weeks or whatever it is?
You're making me feel so much better because this was a tough decision for my seller.
Yeah. For me, if I'm representing the seller, I got to see proof of funds.
Okay.
So, the old days, it was waiving a mortgage was fine because who really cares how they figure it out as long as they figure it out. But now that we know the landscape with the pandemic, we got to see proof of funds.
It just made me feel better. Okay.
Thank you. In a perfect world, you're going to want to see liquid proof of funds, not just.
Yeah, I have it for the cash offer.
Yeah.
The other ones, they said, oh, don't worry, it's okay. We'll send you the proof of funds.
Yeah.
Still, I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely.
COVID. Suppose they get COVID. Suppose they go on a ventilator. God forbid.
And you know how the climate is right now with these multiple offers. Buyers are going to do whatever it takes to get the deal, and they're gonna take risks, and they're gonna posture that they have things that they don't, and they're gonna roll the dice, and that doesn't make your seller happy at the end of the day.
81,000 over the asking with 6 offers.
Yeah.
81,000. It's
Nice
ridiculous.
stuff.
I'm embarrassed at this point. I'm embarrassed to even go back with a best and final or final and best.
Right.
This is what's going on now in the market.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right.
Crazy.
Well, let's move on a little. I think Crystal has a question. Crystal?
Do you want me to read it?
No, if you can unmute her if she's muted. Are you there, Crystal?
Yes. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, we can hear you.
To make sure. Hi, Ben.
Hi.
When and how do you proceed on conditional CO for the seller?
Oh, great question. So, every town, this is what I love about New Jersey. Every town likes to do their own thing. So, every town's different as far as the COs are going, even the smoke detector certificates. So, what we've been doing a lot, especially in towns like Fair Lawn and Glen Rock that have that rigorous CO inspection, is we're closing with escrow. So we're taking usually somewhere between $3,500 and $5,000 and holding it in escrow until the town reopens, hopefully at some point, until the town building departments reopen and they can do these inspections. So yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So both side attorney will make sure. Do we need to, as agent, do we need to do anything for this conditional deal CO?
I mean, sometimes it helps when you're part of the process because some of these letters have to be signed by multiple parties. They have to be submitted to the town official. Sometimes it's a mail drop that you got to do with certain towns. So in terms of facilitating, it's great if you can help out. I don't know that it's needed on every deal. Really depends on you know, what town it is and what their process is. But definitely good idea to get on it earlier than later, because you don't want to be scrambling at the last minute to try to get whatever it is that they're sending out as the quote unquote, you know, CCO or conditional CO.
So this is from their buyer attorney send out the information or seller attorney to request conditional CO?
Yeah, so a lot of towns have a component where the buyer's attorney has to do something. So Fairlawn, for instance, the buyer's attorney has to write a letter that says the buyer confirms that they will take care of every violation, every issue post-closing. So obviously for a buyer to take on that risk, there's got to be money in escrow, and there's got to be an agreement with the other side that the seller will pay for any issues that pop up. So, you know, there's got to be an attorney involvement and a discussion between the parties when you're dealing with these CCOs.
So when is the good time to ask buyer attorney to proceed this you know, information?
I'd say as soon as the inspection's done, if not sooner. You know, you don't want to waste your time if the inspection kills the deal, but I'd say, you know, conservatively after the inspection, you'd be fine to pursue the process. You know, again, it really depends on the town. Some towns are quick, some towns are slow. So it's town by town.
All right, thank you. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Hey, Al.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to add something on the mortgage contingency really quick, just so everyone, you know, knows what to expect from Bond Street. In regard to every deal, before we even write a pre-approval, we're always verifying proof of funds. I would not write a pre-approval without proof of funds, so that when it actually goes into processing, there's no question in regard to whether or not they have proof of funds. As far as the contingency concerned, the contingency is concerned, there is the risk right now someone is furloughed or they lose their job or they have reduced pay that they won't be able to qualify. But if that's the case, let's say they're furloughed or they have reduced pay, the only way that they would be able to back out of the deal from our perspective is if we're able to issue a denial letter. If we can't deny the loan, if they still qualify, we can't issue a denial letter. So just want to set that expectation that, you know, if you're working with Bond Street on something, you know, they would have proof of funds, and they can't just back out of a deal just because they feel like it, or they, you know, they have reduced pay. If they still qualify, we wouldn't be able to write them a denial letter. So they would have to move forward with the loan or perhaps face the legal ramifications of backing out.
That's good to know.
And I want to ask you, with the homes with these multiple offers that are getting out of control, if someone is obtaining a mortgage that they're not putting down 40% or more, and it doesn't appraise out, can the buyer still back out with that criteria?
Yeah, I mean, if you're saying, like, if the buyer doesn't want to make up for the difference in purchase price and reduce the purchase price, yeah, they can still back out. Either side can back out at that point.
Okay, just wanted to know. And thank you, Bond Street, because you're putting through a mortgage for my son in Las Vegas. They're purchasing a home and you're in Las Vegas. So Brad is doing
That's awesome.
Son, yeah.
Yeah, Antoinette, I just wanted to throw out there, you know, attorney review is going to have something to say about what happens with the appraisal. So most attorneys are putting language in the contract via attorney review that's going to have some sort of appraisal language. So I think you got to default to whatever that language is and whatever the parties agree.
Be careful of it.
But I would say that, and Justin knows this, a big component of the appraisal is how much money down the buyer has on the deal. If it's 20% or under, typically when the house doesn't appraise, the mortgage company can issue a denial letter. If the buyer has more than that, so if the buyer's putting down 30 or 40%, it's not so clear that just if the house under appraises whether they're going to get declined or not. If they have enough equity, the lender may say, you know what, there's plenty of equity here, and they can proceed forward even if the house doesn't appraise. So very critical for attorneys to construct the attorney review based on each individual deal, based on what is the down payment, what's the mortgage, and what's the climate of the deal. If it's one of those deals where there's 8 offers all over asking price, maybe you as the listing agent is going to say, look, you guys got to waive appraisal because I'm not dealing with this issue a month from now where the house isn't appraising and it's because you bid more than ask. So it's in the spring summer market, the appraisal is a huge component of the deal, and we all know that the market hasn't caught up with value yet, right? So in the spring and summer, people are bidding on these houses and inflating the values, but there's no comps because they haven't closed yet. If this is happening in September or October, it's different because all those houses have closed and the values have gone up. But when this is happening in the spring, it's difficult because the comps may not be there because people are overbidding.
Right. Thank you. That's good information.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. So Ben, we appreciate you being on. Jason as well. If you guys wouldn't mind throwing your contact info, so people that want to reach out to you, if you could put it in the chat, if you have it handy, or if you can look it up and throw it in there. Jason is obviously a trusted partner that a lot of you are already working with. Ben has been with us probably since the beginning of opening Keller Williams. Worked with us for years, and I would highly recommend both Jason and Ben. And Ben is known for being super responsive, knowledgeable. A lot of our top agents, top producing agents, work with Ben and Jason. And one of the things I wanted to mention quickly, a lot of people are want to work with Carnegie Title, and sometimes they say, well, I have an attorney, and I asked them to use Carnegie Title, but they had a conflict. Or the simplest way, if you want to work with Carnegie Title and know that you're also getting a top-notch attorney, is going with somebody that's on our pre-approved list. And Ben's been on our pre-approved list and working, like I said, with our top agents since probably I've been with Keller Williams. So I definitely recommend him highly, as well as Jason. So thank you both for being on today. Is there anything you guys want to say before we wrap this portion up?
No, thank you very much.
Good when the mortgage minute and the lawyer minute last 20 minutes instead of 1 minute. Shows they know what the heck they're talking about. So thank you guys. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having us out.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, so let's move on to our featured speakers today, Jennifer and Antoinette. How are you guys doing?
Very good.
How are you?
Thank you, Al. I miss you.
We miss you too, Antoinette. Are you in Las Vegas right now?
Yes, I've been here 5 weeks and I've done so much business. This has taught me through COVID that there is a way to restructure your business. And I haven't missed a beat since I'm here. I'm understanding the new way of me practicing business, and it's working. This week alone, I did.
I don't mean to interrupt, but before we get into what you're doing with your business, most people know who you guys are, but maybe if you could each just take a minute and talk a little bit about, who you are, how long you've been in real estate, maybe what your volume is, that kind of stuff. If you have an area of expertise. Again, you're famous, everybody knows you guys, but there may be a couple newer people.
We're hard workers. We're right, Jen? We're hard workers.
We're hard workers.
Well, we are. We're hard workers. That's what it takes to be successful in this business, and to be dedicated and diligent, and to be one step ahead, and to always remember that you need to create that downline. You need to create future business. I've been in the business 30 years. I've seen many changes. I have to admit, I've never seen a change in this market. We've got cyclical markets that are sort of predictable every 7 years. This has been a most unpredictable cyclical market. It's an unpredictable life right now. We're dealing with not just COVID, but now we're dealing with other obstacles. And we really have to stay positive. We have to stay in focus with what we're doing and create a new strategic way of practicing business. And that's what I've done. And it really proved to me that we can go more virtual. Like I said, 30 years in business. I love what I do. One thing I love about Keller is taught me the word team. Team, team, team. No one really realizes how important team structure is when you are a producer, and how you could delegate and still have a life, and watch people around you who are trying to build a business, create a business, and you're helping each other. I have been here 5 weeks. I haven't missed or lost a listing. I've been prospecting, and I've been doing everything virtual. Jennifer, I don't know if I should start talking or maybe give you introduce yourself, because I'm so excited and I'm so full of what I
I think
want.
it should be the Antoinette hour, Al.
No,
Yeah, maybe just, Jennifer, maybe just jump in and
Yeah.
tell us a
Jen,
little
jump
bit.
in because
Okay, so I've been in the business for over 25 years and have worked at other companies other than Keller. And when I first came over to Keller, I was actually the broker of the Ridgewood office for just over 5 years. You know, I do agree with Antoinette. This right now, the landscape has completely changed. I think that people have been very, very open to meeting with you virtually. I have honestly never been busier. I just can't even get over how the market has changed. We definitely are seeing more motivated buyers right now, and actually I think more motivated sellers too. So people are in the moment. They're not just they're not just pretending, like sometimes that happens. But overall, I think it's a great time to be a realtor.
I think the most important thing in this market right now is to stay positive and to stay productive. And when I say positive, when you speak, I'm in Las Vegas now for 5 weeks. I'm going to come home soon, of course. But I have to tell you, when I'm speaking to people, I don't know if it's the palm trees or the feeling here, I'm so up and I'm so I kind of take over when I talk to them. Like the person I'm listing a house tomorrow.
I can imagine you taking it over. It's
I'm
unbelievable.
taking over. You know,
I can't imagine that, Antoinette.
Wow, you call me the unstoppable train. I'm the mouthpiece. My energy comes through, and I know you love it. But I got to tell you something. It comes through on the phone. I don't ask the people now. I don't ask my sellers if we can do a listing presentation. I tell them, get your phone. We're going to do a virtual walkthrough. I just did 3 of them this week, and I landed all 3 listings, and I have 2 more next week. There's no asking. I'm telling them.
I actually think the sellers love that. I've done those virtual walkthroughs. They love it. And they like the Zoom interaction on the phone when you're doing that. They love it. They really do.
And even the elderly people, the older ones that are retiring, it's like they're so mesmerized by what we can do. But I tell them, let's do the walkthrough. I get excited as I'm on the other line of the walkthrough, and I tell them, I'm scheduling my photographer. Your house is a slam dunk. There's so many buyers out there. And then I start to give them real numbers because, you know, numbers don't lie. So I give them the stats of our offices, the stats of what we're doing, the stats of what's going on in their neighborhood. I'm pre-prepared with everything before I go on the call with them, so I can really give them a confidence zone. But I call my business now the S business. S meaning Gary Keller talked about the shift in the market. Well, Gary, you were right, but I don't think you thought it was going to be this shift. What I'm doing is S meaning I'm strategically pricing. So if I'm pricing a house, I ask them if I could actually price it a little lower, because right now there's so many buyers that when we price it a little lower, we're going to entice more people to see it in 1 day, 2 days. We're going to have your house sold in a week. I'm going on my 3rd one in 2 weeks, and it's happened. I want to create a stress-free environment because right now there's so much stress out there for everyone with everything going on around us. I want to keep your home safe. I want to keep this simple and seamless. I want smart buyers to come in, and I want you to be a smart seller. And what I'm trying to do is I want to create success. I want to create your house to be really successful in selling and getting the price that you want, and maybe even more. But most of all, and I'm going to tell everyone who's listening, and I'm putting in a plug for David Axelrod because he's done my last 3
He's on the call, by the way.
Oh, great. He's done my last 3 video showings and shootings of houses. His high-end photography is amazing. I actually went after an expired in Rivervale that was close to $1 million, couldn't sell for 6 months. Well, he came in with his team. He created a lifestyle, such enthusiasm. The photos were crisp, they were accurate. He did the 360 tours. Better than this Matterport that he told me about. I have to tell you, he did the inside, the outside. The doors opened. The house sold immediately in a week. He did one for me 2 days ago. Yesterday, I got 6 offers. The homeowner was screaming. She called me up crying and screaming. She's like, I didn't realize I had such a beautiful home. And we just did another one today, and I'm doing another one on Saturday, and I've got him booked, and I'm just going in there like a locomotive train and just getting them all. But I'm using my S system, my strategic planning and I'm being very strategic. This is a very different market. I'm the mother, they're the child.
Thank you. David, are you on the line? Can you hear us? Do you want to chime in a little bit about your service that you offer? Or some of the agents I imagine would want to hear about it. And if anybody has a question for Jennifer or Antoinette, put it in the chat and then we'll unmute you. But David, going once, are you around? All right.
I recently used David as well, and I agree with Antoinette. He's awesome.
So did
He's
I.
really awesome.
Unbelievable pictures.
There you go. So Jennifer, I know you and I have talked a lot about one of the things you've said that's helped your business and what you like about Keller Williams is that it's a learning-based company and you plug into a lot of what KW has to offer in terms of the training. Is there, anything
So I think,
anything you want to recommend?
Sure. So what I would say to that point is, when you first come to Keller Williams, and this was in the olden days before COVID happened, there's so much offered. There are so many classes. There's the Gary Keller books, there's the MREA, there's everything. And you can get overwhelmed. And, I would see people, suffer from what I would call failure to launch. They just got stuck in that learning and they never went out and actually did practice the business. And we are in a learning based. And I think that all of the great ones, all of the people that are highly successful, any one of them will tell you that they're still participating in those classes. They're still reading those books. They're rereading those books. They're taking the classes. But they're still putting everything into practice. So that's the thing about Keller Williams. I think that as a new agent, and I'm actually speaking to the new agents now, you can go down a rabbit hole of just wanting to try and be perfect before you get out there and try, but just get out there and try. This is a market like none other. You're never going to see anything like this. And people really want to hear from us. So I would say that as much learning as you're doing, just get out there and put yourself into practice.
Jennifer, you're so right.
For those of you, again, that have questions, these are two of our top agents that have been, not sort of a one and done kind of thing, that have produced, $20 million plus of sales year in, year out. So this is your opportunity. If you're shy and you don't want to speak up, just put it in the chat and we'll ask. But it's a great opportunity to ask, two of the best pros in the business some questions.
Al, on my team, we have a motto and it's called Earn While You Learn. And Jennifer hit the nail on the head. Education is the most powerful thing you can ever do, especially in real estate. The more well-versed you are, the more confidence that you install in your buyer and in your seller, okay? I can't even tell you the educational, it's endless, the education that you can get from Keller Williams. Not just on exactly what you need to do, but how to apply it, what to do, how to handle something. The support system is amazing. Mm-hmm. I started off in Ridgewood. I incubated, and Jennifer was the broker there then. And I walked in, and it was just from day one, it was like clicked. I just never looked back. It was success from day one, only because the education was so strong. When you feel confident in what you're saying and doing and feel good about it, it comes across to your buyer and seller. So again, it's where the leadership comes in. It's what Keller's all about, the leadership skills that you install. And that's what I try to install in the new agents and the agents that are struggling. I'm here to help any agent that needs any advice, struggling or not. I'm here to help them. I'm here to give them any kind of strategic things that they need to know to build a business.
Great. All right. So we have about less than 30 minutes left, and I have a ton of questions I want to ask you guys. So I'm going to try to rip through them. And one thing I think would be helpful is if you could each tell us, what's your main source of business? Where do you generate the most of your business? And then what is something you're doing to make you so successful with that part of the business that you're doing that maybe the agents that are listening could duplicate? What's sort of, something, a piece of advice that they could, hang up the Zoom and say, oh, I'm going to go try what Jennifer and Antoinette taught me, so that they come away from this, with at least one or two nuggets of, something that will help grow their business.
Do you want me to answer?
So Antoinette, I'm going to let you go first, because I know that you started differently than I did. I mean, when I started, I was young. I actually didn't have children yet. And see Colleen smiling at me. I was really young and I just did it. I just started working like newcomers in Ridgewood and just talking to people. You know, having grown up in Ridgewood and doing the bulk of my business where I grew up, I will tell you is really, you know, I just, my tentacles go deep here. So, you know, my father graduated Ridgewood High School. My kids have gone to Ridgewood High School, my husband and I. So that's actually where I get a lot of my business is just from.
So your advice is for everybody to wind the clock back and be born in Ridgewood in order to generate business.
No, wherever they're from. No, it's not Ridgewood, but it's just wherever you're planted, I think that should be your base because those people know you from just being out and about. And I think you have to take advantage of that. You want to be that friendly person that they come across.
And how do you cultivate that though? Just being a nice person and being from the town probably is not generating the business. How are you going out and getting those leads from those people?
Because I just constantly am following up with them, calling them, doing the care calls, just checking in on them. If a listing comes up on their street, I'll say, even if I know that they're not working with me, I'll send it to them. Hey, I just want to know this just came up on your street. Thought you might be interested. I might know who they're working with, but it's not about that. It's information. I like to give people information. And I find over the years, because of that, I've gotten a lot of business that, you know, they knew that I was a full-time agent. I wasn't just showing up for one transaction or two transactions. They knew that I was working day in and day out.
I want to confirm what you're saying. I started 30 years ago. I walked into the blue and white company, left a full-time job, had no paycheck on Friday, just had my third child. And I said, okay, now what am I going to do? There's no paycheck on Friday. I asked the manager if I could lock myself up in a glass room office. I didn't want to sit in a cubicle because I talk, and I'll annoy people. And I sat myself and I took a yellow and white page phone book. This was 30 years ago. And what I did was I started with A and I went down the phone book and I created my own little script. And again, I did strategic planning. Well, I sold 6 homes in 6 weeks. I went from A, I had a script and I called everyone and I started with A and I sold 6 homes, 6 weeks. And I was tops in sales and production the first year of business in real estate, and it's never stopped because I applied myself without fear. I tried to educate myself. Again, I didn't have the education. This company gave you no education. It was survival. But again,
it's a horrible company. I know the one you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. I niched myself in the business, and living in Rivervale for 32 years, you get involved with PTA. Today alone, and I told my son, Andrew, I said, Andrew, get your license. All your friends are going to be buying houses. And my son, Roger, because I had gone through it with him, he's 41. And today I got a call from 2 buyers, one of Roger's friends and one of Andrew's friends. And they're both buying close to $1 million homes. Mrs. Gange, can you sell us a home? I surely can. And I'm turning those buyers over to my buyer's agents. And this is how I'm feeding my group and building my team. But I just have to tell you, it's all relationships.
So if there's a piece of advice that you could give to an agent, maybe that, you know, let's say is moved here and they don't have the connections that Jennifer does, or they're not at the age where they're in the PTA, what's advice you would give to how to go out and generate business?
Just put yourself out there. My business.
I think they have to join something. I think, you know, if they could, you know, Al, when you came, I remember like you were in Lit Tip, or you could join Rotary. I think if you could make a big place small, if you could become a part of something that you could lend expertise to, it could be Chamber of Commerce. It could be so many things that you could lend your voice to. That's how you would start.
Sunny on my team joined the Junior Women's Club in Harrington Park.
Yep.
She moved from Hillsdale to Harrington Park. I make sure that every single person on my team has an organization that they're connected with. I'm very strict. I have to tell you, when we have our bi-weekly team meetings, there's always a constant, I'm watching what they're doing and where they're going because I'm navigating them at the same time. You have to just put yourself out there. And my business is, a lot of it is referral, but a lot of it is I go after the expireds not the recent expireds, ones that expired last year, because now they want to sell. They still want to sell. They just didn't get their price. The time is now. And this is when I go in, like, forget about it, like a roller, steamroller. And the time is now. Don't wait. I just got another call this morning, Rivervale person, and they said, you know what? Should I list? Yes, I have that appointment too. It's just, they're coming in every day now. It's not stopping. I listed a house last week. The guy showed up with an 11th month baby from New York.
Thank you.
Get out of New York. So right now, we've got a world of business out there for us. We just have to go get it.
All right, cool. Let's keep moving. So question for you guys. This question is because Brian Allen is here with us today. Are you guys taking advantage of all the passive income opportunities? Are you guys, do you have a strategy around profit share, disappearing cap, Carnegie Home and Auto, Carnegie Title? How is that working out for you guys?
Every single client of mine loves Carnegie Home and Auto. Every single client, even buying high-end homes, I get them to call anyway. I said, look, even though if your uncle is an agent or whatever, call. Every single person has gone with Carnegie because their rates are unbelievable. They can't be touched.
Awesome.
That's what I can tell you.
I would agree. The people that I know, the people that have actually called and followed through have all been extremely happy with Carnegie Home and Auto. It's been great.
Home and Auto, good. The Brian Allen's company, Carnegie Title, not so much, right? We don't like those guys.
Love Carnegie Title.
No, love Carnegie Title. We love Brian Allen. Although there he is. I see him. Yep.
I don't see you, Brian. Where are you?
He's in a green room.
Oh.
All right. So now.
Very much.
Can I interrupt a second? And I know you hate this, but Antoinette and I were speaking this morning, and she uses Carnegie Home and Auto, Carnegie Title, and our attorneys as part of her part of her package. She packages it all together to make it a one-stop shop.
Simple and seamless. I help my sellers and buyers, and it works.
And we talked a lot about
working from Las Vegas, right?
I'm doing all this business from Las Vegas. You're not kidding. If I keep this amount of business up, I may never come home.
For those of you not working with all those companies, we talked about it, I think, on Monday, but the advantage, probably the biggest advantage for you personally is you can, generate a great stream of income that's going to come in year after year that, again, lots of agents making more than the total of their cap. So they're on more than 100% commission. There are several agents earning 6 figures in passive income. But the thing that people also don't realize is there are guys like Jason who's still on the call that, they do become part of the team, like Antoinette said. And when you have sort of in-house people, you have Brian Allen, you have Tim Fox, you have much more control over the transaction because they're your people. You have Ben Cooper that, you're working with him repeatedly. It's not like this one-off person who doesn't know you from Adam. It starts to feel like they're part of your team, part of your company. I've even seen a lot of our agents, when they do their team picture, their attorney, their mortgage rep, and Tim Fox are in there, and it makes their team look a lot bigger. And technically they are part of their team. So if you're not taking advantage of that, I would encourage you to. We have 2 questions, one from Deborah and one from Crystal. Can we unmute them, Kat?
Or I'll start with you and just pull you up. Hey, Deborah, if you want to ask your question.
Deborah, are you there? Did you want to ask?
Yes. I didn't hear that it was me. Yes, I missed part of the Antoinette. So when you're doing these listings from Las Vegas, you're sending in your photographers or David Axelrad into your sellers' homes without an agent being present.
Oh, Andrew I have a team, Deborah. That's the best of my life.
Okay, so if you're a solo agent, you really have to have an agent going in there.
You don't have to. Some of the photographers won't allow an agent. David happens to allow it, which I'm lucky, but my seller has all the lights on. We have sanitizer, gloves, and masks there. I have a kit, and all the lights are pre-put on, and I asked my seller to leave, and they do, because I don't want a lot of people around. And some of the photographers don't want any sellers or any agents. 2 times we had to have Andrew waited in the car. And then he would go and lock up.
Deborah, I'm just going to say that I have also had photographers go to homes right now, and they do not want you present. What I do, and I'm sure Antoinette has done this because we've done the video walkthrough with our clients in advance.
So you've seen the houses, but you've seen.
I've done it through video. I signed up over a $2 million listing, having never walked into it. I did the video walkthrough and I asked them to make.
What do you mean the
changes
video
based on the video
walkthrough?
walkthrough?
Wait, what do you mean?
FaceTime. That's how I did that's how I saw the house, through FaceTime.
Okay,
I'm listing all my houses like that. I have not been in one house.
okay,
And
okay,
I don't have to be.
okay.
I'm thrilled about it. And they
Okay.
accept it. You take the bull by the horns and you tell them for safety reasons, and this is what everyone's doing. So your business is becoming, you're developing a video communication now with your client. And they like it. Everything is FaceTime virtual. And your clients are accepting it because this is the new wave now.
Gotcha. Okay,
So
thank you.
Jennifer and Antoinette are basically sitting on their couch with their laptop, eating bonbons all day and making millions of dollars.
I'm sitting in my backyard with palm trees, and I'm having a ball. I'm going to the pool this afternoon. I'm listing 2 more houses this week, and I tell you the truth. Thank you, Al, for teaching me about a team. And Colleen and the whole company. I mean, these teams are not really impressed in other companies. Everybody's, hiding and doing on their own and whatever. We're not doing that here. We're caring and sharing, and you've got a great life. You've got a great future here with this Keller Williams. You just have to cultivate it. If you're not going to go out there, we're going to plant the seeds. If you're not going to water them, nothing's going to grow. Okay?
Yeah, makes sense. All right, Crystal has a question for Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer. That's Crystal. How are you?
Hi, Crystal. Good. How are you?
I know you're very good in a digital listing presentation, and you did one so great. Would you please share some of your great tips?
Sure. Well, I had posted it and I had sent it to the office so that they could share it with you. Did you not get the digital presentation?
Oh, let me check. But can you brief?
So, I mean, I had used pages from the one on Command, and then I used the one that part of eEdge, and I actually just made my own, pulling different pieces. I just made a digital one that I thought could speak for my business, and I just wanted the pages that I liked. So that's what I ended up doing. So I shared it with the office when I did the presentation on the listings.
Okay.
So I'll make sure you get a copy of it.
I think I got it. All right. Thank you. All right.
You're welcome.
That's something you'd be willing to share with all of BCP? Is it something we can?
Absolutely. I mean, it's, most of the information came from, the services that we get from BCP. So yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to.
Okay. Yeah, if you can send it to me and I'll just send it out to the whole company
Sure.
if it's okay with you. Awesome. All right, Kim has a question.
Okay. Am I there?
Yep.
Okay. This is just about the video walkthrough you guys are talking about. Is it the seller that does the initial video walkthrough so you could see the house before you send in the photographers?
No, this is a private one you do with them on FaceTime before you get your photographer there.
So yeah, right. So the first one I did was basically maybe the first week of COVID. And I said to the owner, I'm like, would you be willing to walk me through the house on your phone? And he said, okay. And so he would go into a room and I would tell him what I wanted to see in the room. I asked him to open up the closet so I could see it. I asked him to show me how many windows. And he just walked through every room. Whenever I had a question regarding a detail, I asked him and he would point the phone that way. And their enthusiasm and the excitement about the house comes through. It's different when they're walking you through their house like that than when you were there in person, because you could take a lot of that in and not ask those questions, but because they're on the phone and you're asking them, it's actually more engaging. They really appreciate it.
Did you feel that you were building, I felt I was building consumer confidence.
Absolutely.
The consumer felt in control for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
They felt like, wow, I'm presenting my house to them. It's not like us going in there with our, sheet and writing down everything about the house, our worksheet. They're actually presenting to us, Mike, it's consumer confidence in both sides, with the buyer and the seller. It's wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you. That makes a lot more sense now. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, great. Moving on. Antoinette, you had talked about recently restructuring your team. Do you want to share how that's gone and any advice for people who either want to run a team or be on a team?
Yes. Keeping your team confident, keeping your team busy during these times. like I said, delegating buyers to your team, keeping them busy. I mean, constant communication I have with my team every day. And we do it twice a month. We still do a Zoom meeting twice a month. Just keeping them busy. I'm keeping everyone warm and keeping everyone with a positive attitude, looking forward to our new market. But I'm teaching them strategies, strategic market, and they're learning. And it's exciting to see them learn, you know, and they're earning while they're learning, which is the best thing I could do. I need to keep them warm. I know I could always earn, but I need to share it with them. I need to let them know that they're earning it also. They're working it. You know, they're showing up for me for all different kinds of things. Walkthroughs, closings. Yesterday, I mean, incredible. Another house in Ridgewood, over $1 million. I got contracted yesterday. It's been sitting. You know, we did our walkthrough. I mean, it's just, you know, I can't even tell you. It's been amazing. It's an amazing market right now. And everyone should just reap this benefit.
And Antoinette, you probably would agree, you're busier than you've been.
Yes.
We're busier than we've been.
Stop rubbing it in for the rest of us, okay?
The first couple of weeks of COVID was devastating. I have to tell you. You were not hearing me talk like this. You know, I wrote out 17 sympathy cards. I was bringing, you know, meals to a lot of friends and family that are suffering from COVID. It was no party the first few weeks. And my son gave me a phone call and said, Mom, you got to get out of there. You know, you're going to be 68 years old and you're at that age where it could hit you. And, you know, you can get yourself down. So you got to pick up the pieces. And when I came out here, I figured, how am I going to restructure my business without being affected, being 2,500 miles away from everyone? And I did that. I did so. But I guess because maybe it's a different mindset. It is a different mindset. Sure. And I have to tell you, if you can maybe put a palm tree in your office and do something, just have a positive mindset. It's all up to you. You know, my mother brought me up with a saying, and my mother brought me up with one saying since I was 2 years old. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. So you're going to create your own destiny and your future. You want to lay down and die and let the, you know, the tires run over your stomach? That's fine. No, I'm not about to do that. We have something good here. We have great agents. We have a great support team. We have a great family of KW agents. We have everything great. We need to take advantage of of everything that we do for people and everything that we can do for ourselves and our family.
So one thing I wanted to ask you guys, so it's awesome that your business is doing so great, and probably for 80% of the people on this call, that's motivating to see that, you know, it can be done and you can have a big business and a big life for let's say the 20% of agents who are struggling. Either they're new or they're just not earning enough right now that they're happy with it. If you had to coach them and like design their day, like starting tomorrow, if you want to grow a business, like what should they do? How should they shape their day? Would you, you know, get up at 8 in the morning and do 3 hours of lead gen? What?
I'm up at 6. I do 3 hours of lead gen till 9 because it's 9 in Jersey. I'm on the phone for the first 3 hours. My family's all sleeping. So I'm on the phone.
Still doing, even after all this time, still doing 3 hours of lead gen every day.
Oh yeah, I have to. Sure. How do you think? What you think the business? I mean, sure, I have referrals, but I'm not waiting for somebody to knock on my door. I'm going to go knock on their door. You know?
I think that's sort of the tough advice you have to give to some people. You know, if people are saying, I don't know, it's not clicking, I'm not selling enough real estate, but if you're not lead generating for 3 hours a day, that's probably the first piece of advice. You know,
and I do think that the you know, Lori said it the other day. I do think that the James Shaw bold pivot calls, you know, if you show up, if you're new, he's very encouraging. I mean, you just get out of your comfort zone. If you can't do 3 hours, do an hour. Start with an hour. You know, I mean, I get that some people are still homeschooling their kids. I get, you know, there's a lot of excuses, but you do have to put some time in. You do have to make those calls because the phone's not going to ring if you don't.
Well,
I'm going to get James Shaw. He's going to come on here in the next couple of weeks and do an hour with us. So that should be good.
That's great. This is how I open up my expireds when I call. I called one the other day, and I actually have to meet with him next week. Andrew's going to meet. We're going to do a virtual walkthrough. And it expired, and I said, am I your 999th phone call? And he said, yes, you are. So I said, okay, let me be your 1,000th phone call, but let me list your home. Let me talk to you about it. I'm getting the listing. I start off very, how do I say, not normal. Not like, oh, hi, I'm Antoinette from Keller Williams, da-da-da-da. No, I start off with, hi, you know, I want to be your 999th phone call. And they love that. You kind of open up the dialogue and just a little bit different. And then I have the stats of the market, the stats of the house, of what's going on around him. People love numbers because numbers don't lie. And they like to hear things, especially higher end homes. You know, these are all people that are involved with, you know, I mean, statistics, I mean, stock market, everything. So they want to hear numbers, you know, and I speak to them about, it's not just me, it's my company. We are, you know, and then I speak about the company and I speak about all our stats. But I have to tell you, it works every time. I'm not the normal phone call. I'm really not the normal phone call. You'd love to get a call from me. I always hang up and I go, who wouldn't list their house with me? Would you list your house with me?
You need to have. That's awesome.
You know, it's a personality thing. It's how up you are and how stimulating you are. You're going to stimulate your seller. You want to be down, Debbie Downer, then you're not going to stimulate anybody.
All right, we're almost running out of time, and let's get one more practical tip for our people. So, is there either a piece of technology, and it doesn't have to be command, you know, some piece of technology that's helping you generate leads, or you know that you would recommend to other people that's helping you with your business? Or is there a social media strategy that you're using that other agents could mimic to help them grow their business?
I use the old telephone. That's it. I'm from the old school. Communication is key in my life.
You know, I think
I'm going to give you an answer.
I do think that while I like command quite a bit, and I'm still trying to use all it has to offer, you can get lost in trying to figure it out and trying to know everything. So, you know, just a good old pen and paper and knowing who you need to call that day. Don't rely on technology necessarily. You can't have that excuse. You just have to figure out who you need to call and get it done. I have a lot of things that have to go in my database, which aren't there. And, you know, that's my bad. I'm probably letting things go through the cracks, but it's all in my notebook. So at least I have my notebook to refer to.
So, maybe not the right question for you guys. So the answer to the technology question is a pad and paper and the telephone.
Here it is now. My kids yell at me. Look at the notes. I got all the papers. Andrew just sent me a form. He goes, Mom, I was up till 1 in the morning because I just keep shooting listings over to him. He's like, I made up a form. You got to follow this form. I can't take your notes anymore. And you know what? This is me. And here's the sheet he made up. It's called a pre-listing info sheet. And he wants to know everything as I'm on the phone. Here's my residential worksheet and my pre-listing info and all the information that's going to go on the listing and what we're going to do. He's got me on target. He goes, I can't take all your notes anymore. I got notes all over the place, but I know what I'm doing. I'm old school.
You can't argue with success. So
no.
Before we wrap it up, I just like to try to ask a question to get to know you guys better. And in the past, I just picked one and then I put people on the spot. So I'll give you a range of questions. If you can answer one of these questions so we can get to know you a little bit. What's a book that changed your life? Who's your hero? Or if you could have dinner with 3 people, alive or dead, who would they be?
If I could have, what was the last question?
If you could have dinner with 3 people, alive or dead, who would you pick to have dinner with?
I want to have dinner with you, Al.
Dinner with me all the time.
I want to see that face blush.
So I think I would pick the hero question.
Okay.
And my hero actually would be my mother, who came to this country when she was 16 from Central America. She lost her dad when she was 18 months old, and nothing stopped her. You know, she raised 3 children and had a very happy marriage. But, you know, my mother just taught us that, you know, you just put your mind to something and you can do it. You can do whatever you dream, and you have to dream big. And, you know, she didn't speak a word of English when she came here. And, you know, she loved it. She became the consulate to Nicaragua in New York. So, you know, she did it.
Aside from the not speaking English well, she reminds me a lot of you, Jennifer, so you're describing yourself. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
My hero is my mother, my father, and my in-laws, my husband's parents. My mother-in-law, wonderful, but my mother, like I told you the story, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. She taught me so much strength and confidence, but my father was an amazing person with the stories he told me in life. You know, he went through the depression, and I think when you go through the depression, it really sets your mind straight on the values of what life is really about, how he waited online for bread and water. And you know what? These are all things that install strength in you. No matter how bad the times are, you always know how to pick yourself up, and you know how to help people and give. And my mother was a helping person. She raised, it was just two children in the family, but my mother raised over 20 children. So we always had foster children in our house. Yeah, I was always raised. She would take the breezeway and put 7 cots. You know, I can't even tell you the amount of children she dedicated her life to, but she was a great cook. Well, the family was always at the house Saturday and Sunday, taught me family values.
You sound a lot like your mom too. I guess both of you, the apple doesn't fall far from
Oh, I am. I'm the apple of my family, the eye of my family. But the person that I would want to have dinner with would be my husband, because he has been totally supportive to me. 2 more years, we're married 50 years. And let me tell you, I'm a loose cannon. I got to do what I want to do. And he lets me. He stands right behind me, you know, and he's great. He has faith in me, and I have faith in him and our family, our 3 sons. And
awesome. Well, I have to jump on another Zoom that started 1 minute ago. But real quick, there was one last question there. Where do you get your stats from, Antoinette? Kim wanted to know.
Stats of? Tell me. Oh, tell me, what do you mean stats regarding?
Kim?
What do you mean stats? Tell me. What
Trying
stats?
to find unmute. I think I got it.
Yes.
Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, when you guys are talking about the stats from the office, the stats from the neighborhood,
Oh,
is that
yeah.
something on our website or something?
Oh, yeah, our stats. Well, fortunately at our team meetings, which I love, and Al even posted, we get the stats of the office, but I just got stats, you know, now I'm going to run with this ball. The office supplied me with the stats of being the #1 agent in Rivervale, being the #1 in Montvale. So I'm going to run with that ball. I'm going to embellish that, but we check on the stats. I called Johan. He's wonderful. He gives me my stats if you need anything. He's a dream. I mean, he's wonderful to have in our company. He's so informative. But as far as stats are concerned, what I do is I go on and I research market updates. And if you want to really feel secure, Dr. Yoon, who's a quantitative economist for real estate, he's wonderful. So you can get a lot of good information from him. But that's where I get my stats.
Great, thank you so much.
Which markets
And
are you in, Kim?
I'm Woodcliff Lake.
And if you don't have stats of your own, use the offices.
Yeah, I've got nothing. So
Colleen is on the line, Kim. She can definitely get you the office stats for sure. I think she ran them a few days ago.
Jennifer, what I do is, and I don't know if anyone has a team, I allow my team to use our stats, because when they go in, if they're going in on a listing or they're going in on an appointment or something, I tell them, use our stats of our team, use the stats of our office. We're all in this together, you know, and even my listings, I let them use, if we have, they go in and say, how many listings do you have in Rivervale? Well, use the stats of our team. It's okay. It's okay.
Colleen,
If you have to jump off, I can take any other
Did I wake
question.
you up there? Where did they get the stats in Woodcliff Lake?
No, we have them, and
Yeah.
we post them, and we'll have a team meeting on Friday at 11. So, and Antoinette's going to be speaking again, so we have them.
Yeah, if you can wrap it up, Colleen. I do have to jump, but thank you so much, Jennifer and Antoinette.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Good to see you.
Good to talk to you guys for 5 hours. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Is there anybody else that has any other questions for Antoinette or Jennifer before you jump off? I think we're good, ladies. I'm sorry I was late. I had another call, but I needed to jump on and see both of you.
Thank you so much,
You're my
Colleen.
favorite people.
Oh, thank you. I miss you. I can't wait to come back, and I guess we have to social distance. We can't hug, but that's okay. All right, let me go put my bikini on.
Thank you.
Go swimming. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Love yous all.